Welcome at home with Stacy and Courage, where you will find me busy creating clean products, preserving, planning delicious, nutritious meals for my friends and family. This is the pumpkin we set aside when we did that large batch of pumpkin preserve. First thing first, make sure that your eyes are protected. Make sure that you have on a gloves on your hands and make sure that you have on long sleeve. You are mixing your distilled water and lye. And this tends to heat up really hot and it can burn your skin. So safety is the first thing. Make sure that you have all of your ingredients together before you start. You don't want to be tripping over anything and spilling anything at this phase. Be very careful. Now, this step is optional. I like adding about 2 inches of silk to my soap just to give it that slip. You don't have to do this. I am a Dove girl, so I do love that slip. And I add it in this phase, that way it melts really well when this mixture heats up. So you're going to take your time and add your lye to your water. You want to do it in this step. You don't want anything splattering, and take your time and mix this slowly. Make sure that everything is stable and your eyes are on this. Very important. I have a lot of different products that I make, but soap making tends to be the most therapeutic out of all of the products that I make. I feel very relaxed whenever I make soap and I want to make more and more and more. Here you see me cutting up my shea butter, and as you can see, this shea butter is quite soft. So I'm taking my time and cutting them smaller. That way melting the shea butter is much more easier. I find when I put the whole chunk in the double boiler, it's more difficult. It takes longer to melt. And as you can see me here, I'm cutting up my no, what is this? This is cocoa butter. Now, cocoa butter is a bit more hard, so I cut this a bit smaller. That way it melts faster in my double boiler. Before I started making my own soap, I actually was only using body wash because I find the soap was drying out my skin and I just find it was getting a bit too expensive. But when I started making my own soap, that was it. I stopped using the body wash and I've never bathed with any soap more than the soap that I have made. I absolutely love it. Here you see me mixing my coconut oil, and I am just taking my time with that and just measuring as I go. And my coconut oil is still soft because it hasn't gotten cold as yet. So this is perfect. And I am just simply taking a pot and I'm adding this container in the pot, and that is my double boiler. Now it's time for the additives. I use clay, which help cleanse the skin without drying out the skin. I also use oatmeal as well as goat milk. And those two things add a lot of moisture and help brings moisture to the skin. So those are some of my favorite additives that I always use in my soap making. Once I mix those all together, I give this a really good mix and I set this aside. Now it's time for our fragrance oil. Use whichever blend you like. I'm using turmeric, lemon, and lavender. Now that all my butters have been melted and cool to match the temperature of my lye solution, I like to do both the lye and the oil close in temperature. I am going to add that dry mixture that we mixed earlier on and give this a good mix. Now, I would advise that you do your blending in this phase. I did not blend this. Once I added the pumpkin, I was supposed to blend. So remember, blend before you add your lye solution. Very important. Thank God I've been doing this for a while, or else I would have been in big trouble. Give everything a good mix, but I should have been blending. Now I'm going to add my olive oil. Now I have just so happened to have olive oil infused with lavender from last year, so I'm going to use that because I don't have any other use for this. But this is my olive oil, but yours don't have to be infused with lavender. I just so happen to have this because I am always making something. When you are mixing your solid butter, you could also add your oil as well. Give everything a good whisk or a good stir in this phase. These next two steps are optional. I am mixing 1 tablespoon of titanium dioxide and 1 tablespoon of water, and I'm going to add this to my oil mixture. You don't have to add this, but I like the kind of a rich dove-like look it gives to the soap. And it's not enough to penetrate my skin. I'm also mixing 2 tablespoons of sodium lactate, and this helps give the soap texture, it helps firm the soap, and just makes it really easy to come out from the mold. Give everything a good mix. Check the temperature. Everything is like almost at room temperature. So I think we can start mixing everything together. I am taking my lye solution and I'm adding that to my oil mixture and I am giving this a good stir. Stirring slowly during this step. You don't want anything spilling to burn your skin. Now you will notice that my mixture is already thick and I am now starting to blend. This is why it is important to blend before you add your lye solution to your soap. Now this soap went to trace really fast and that is because of the sugars in the pumpkin. Now I use a quarter cup of pumpkin. You can get away with using 1/8 of a cup. I know my table is rocking. This is one of my rocking tables, but it's getting the job done. So take your time, don't over mix. Everything is looking nice and creamy. You don't want to over mix. Now I'm adding my fragrance oil and sometimes fragrance oil even speed up trace even more. So take your time, use your spatula as well as your mixer, mix them half and half, not to over blend. But the process here, we have to move fast because we don't want our soap to firm up before time. Thank God I've done this before, so I have a little bit of experience with this. But so far, everything is looking nice, it's looking creamy, and I love this soap so far. Now, I hope you have your molds already clean and ready to go because now we're going to be moving really fast because this soap is thickening. So now we're going to add our soap mixture to our molds. And I used to sell soap, so I have all of these molds. You can use silicone molds. You don't have to have these fancy molds. I just so happen to have a lot of things because I do a lot of things, okay? But pour your soap in there and knock or shake or bang on your table to make sure everything gets nice and smooth. Just keep repeating this step, right? And just move as fast as you can. This could be very nerve-wracking, but you're going to get through it. Just keep banging and keep pouring and keep going and breathe. You will see those experienced soap makers panicking so much less for us who don't even know what we're doing. Okay, so just keep banging to smoothen everything, and so far everything is looking good. Make sure to clean your bowl clean, make sure there's nothing left in there because listen, soap is precious. You see the oils and all of that we use, make sure that nothing is left in your container. Keep banging, keep ponging, keep knocking until everything gets flat. Now this was a large soap I did. I forgot to tape that part. So I'm just illustrating how I design. I usually design all of my soap like this. This was a large soap I did before this one, that this one didn't go to trace. So I'm just showing you all how I take a little spoon and I just create little patterns on top. And once that is done, I cover everything and I let it go to full gel phase for about 24 hours. Now this soap, you have to cut this soap immediately in the morning because with all of the butters in this soap will get really hard really fast. So once my soap was dried and I got up the next day, I went straight to where these soaps were and I cut them immediately. I did not wait. So this is me removing the soap from my molds. This is the next day. I don't even think it was a full 24 hours, but I knew this soap was going to get hard quickly based on the what was inside of it and based on how fast it went to trace. And this is my soap. Everything looks perfect. It is ready to be cut. It came out of the mold seamlessly. I had no problem. And do you see how beautiful this color is? Now, colors do change when you make soap. As it cures, it kind of oxidizes and the color does change. So here I am cutting my soap and just wiping the edges. And I love this part of soap making. I find it is so relaxing. And if you have never made soap before, you can use molds. You don't have to go out and get these equipments. I have these equipments because, as I mentioned before, I used to sell soap and it was just helping me save time because I had so much soap to cut. But I love it. This is me showing you here how to use a soap mold, and this could work just the same, and you get a nice pretty soap. If you don't have one of these fancy equipments, you could use a knife, you could use a soap cutter. You don't need to have a cutter. You can use something that can help you cut the soap. I put everything on a tray and I will let this cure for 6 to 8 weeks. Leave a comment below if you have any suggestions, any ideas, or any tips for me. Remember to thumbs up this video, remember to subscribe, and I will see you in the kitchen in a bit. Talk to you later. Bye.